worked as an individual with people that I work with, like Mark, if they know you and they know where you're coming from, then you only really need to set the tone on a macro kind of level. And with Will, that's totally how it was. Like, hey, this is what we care about. This is what we want the film to feel like, and this is what we want the message to be, and how do those things resonate with you. And other than that, there's not much that you need to do. I think over the years, as we were all learning together, I mean, Will is extraordinarily talented, but I think it is, his first major film. He shot a couple films as well. During the course of making this, I think everyone was on a bit of a learning curve, and even Mark came in and had some things to say, and we would have conversations every few months, and we would try and just brainstorm how we can complete the task with such little resources. But when it comes down to, like, the things that you ask when you watch a movie, when it comes down to, like, okay, questions about the reality of what the character is feeling and all that, the microcosms of the story, that's Will. I didn't get in there and say, hey, I want him to contemplate to wear a really good-looking short. No, sounds like my only comment I'm always, what's he wearing? But it's. When the character wants to commit suicide, when the character is reliving through these but everything, there's like he did that, like he laid, on the floor drawing those pictures and those notes and the sets.
But that said, not to interrupt you, but we all know how Tom is and how he has a lot of big, obviously huge ideas and philosophies and things like that. And I was working on a film called Crave, it was just another sort of long process out in Detroit. And I remember I'd be on the phone in the DoubleTree with Tom, and he would be telling me about some sort of alternate reality crystal that he was, reading about. So there's a lot of philosophy stuff, just jumping back and forth, and a lot of that stuff does influence certain things that do happen in film, whether he said to do it or not. It's like part of sort of a bigger process.
I think that's for sure. I think we both, Will and I, we really communicate about some deep things very easily. So I think
aliens,
a few of them, but just in general, and just there's who we are as human beings and what we're doing here, and what our reality really is, and what our purpose is, and those types of conversations obviously, make their way into the story. But and the other thing, you didn't ask, but before we go to the audience, or whatever, Gunnar, you guys know, you're up there. You mentioned it when you were just saying by yourself. It's like there's no actors to feed off of. It's like chances are he's sitting literally, and this is what's so cool about this. It's like you guys even know that space station's in a driveway and it's freezing outside, and it might just be Will and Gunnar and maybe Mark off to the side, maybe one other guy if they're lucky. I mean, you were telling me stories where literally these fuckers are outside with like sheets over them because the flies and the mosquitoes and stuff, crazy stories of trying to brave the elements out in Santa Barbara County. Because usually you do that stuff inside of a building where there's air conditioning and there's catering and there's dressing rooms and all those types of things. But for you to handle what you did in there, and I was so excited to see, because I haven't seen Gunnar for a long time, but it's just really awesome, man. And that performance that you gave, and having to carry a whole film by yourself, it's great. It is, man.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And it's a collective, it's not one person, and there was you're creative, and in some ways you kind of feel like, okay, I'm going to play Madison Square Garden by myself, a cappella, great, But Will was in some ways my co-star, and a lot of it's Mark and a lot of these guys on set, because we had such a trust, and there was a lot of time. We weren't pressured in some of these serious moments to where we just roll camera, and Will would feed me something or maybe an idea, and I'd go, and I felt so comfortable, so relaxed, and by that time I was really into this guy's head that just sometimes magic things would happen, whether we could capture it or not. That was pretty special.
Question. I'm sorry, I feel really stupid. I didn't appreciate the work that went into it. To me, it looked like 2001 Space Odyssey. I actually did not follow the story at all. I absolutely do not understand what the story is. Sorry, can you explain what the hell is going on?
We don't know. That's the beauty.
Yeah.
So even know what's going on. I think, I'll say this straight up. I think I've always tried to tell people about this film that it's an art piece. And from our band's point of view, we wanted to be able to merge the music industry and the film industry. And when that happens, you have so much more latitude to do things creatively and how you want to. And we're not stuck with the normal rhythm that the movie industry is stuck with. I think for certain people, they'll grab different things out of it. I think for certain people, they don't watch films like this to begin with, so they're kind of like, where's big fucking robots fighting each other? You know? But for us, I find it I find it different than you, because when I saw it, and I knew what was going into it, but we have 150 hours of footage, 150 hours. So when you try to assemble 90 minutes out of that, it could come across 1,000 different ways. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have been on YouTube where you watch like movie trailers where they rescored the dialogue and the music, and they made a horror movie out of like the Lion King cartoon, you know? But you can do that in film. So even I didn't totally know how it was going to come off until it was done. And I think that if you go into this with an open mind and you follow the story of an individual being lost by it, and learning how important it is to have communication and to have people around you and to have your life live through them. If you watch somebody by himself having to earn that, then you can take a lot of different things from it, but that's really what it's all about.
Well, what's the connection to the Civil War?
We can't tell you that.
I know that the previous release date for Love Part 2 was in March, but I heard that it got pushed back. So what you did?
Oh yeah, so in my style, because I'm really good at this, I've mentioned a couple release dates for this, because what we thought originally, to be honest, before everyone started seeing the film, is that we were going to tour it ourselves, and we were going to release it in theaters on our own accord, and we were going to start on Valentine's Day to keep up with the cool theme, right, that we did a year ago with the record. But once people started seeing it, and they're like, hold on, this is good, you know. And then the film festival called, and then we actually got people involved from Los Angeles that know the film industry, not just us guessing down in San Diego. It changed the whole plan completely. So the plan as it is now is we're going to let the film do what it needs to do at film festivals and finish the double record and have everything come out in fall. That's subject to change too, because some involvement in film may be different. So.
I think one of your biggest critics back there may have just given you the biggest compliment, saying that you are in the same vein as 2001 or Solaris or Sunshine or anything like that.
Thank you.
That's totally the feeling that I got my second time seeing the movie. I can pick out scenes and go, wow, I can connect with that, through other films. And like I said, if you get 100 critics saying those sorts of things, that's the biggest compliment you can have.
Well, we just thank you. We want people to talk, Like, we want people to go home and go, what the heck was that? Where?
If you're being compared to Kubrick, you're doing something.
That's not a bad thing to do.
Yeah.
We're being contacted. All right. Being serious. But thank you so much. And we got a lot of comparisons like that, and that's cool. I think
honestly, that's very humbling for people to say that. But I am hoping that people watch this film and watch it again and try to pick up certain parallels, certain metaphors. I feel like we took some interesting choices in terms of literally sometimes spelling exact things out with the interviews and certain things. And then, there's some parts where you're like, okay, how the heck could that journal have gotten there and all these other things. And honestly, I'm hoping as people get into it further and further, they're able to study certain details that might totally explain that. I think, a big key to the whole entire story and how certain things are happening, it's all kind of unraveling really quickly towards the end, and he opens the book that says a love story, and it's sort of showing hints and things like that.